Hello everyone, David here. So it is that time again. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has returned, and here I am to bring you guys my review of the Season 3 premiere. And this time we are back with some new characters, new outfits, a new bus that Coulson is now piloting it around in the skies, and of course, a new logo. And in the Season 3 premiere, we pretty much see Coulson taking up the task of what he said he was going to do at the end of the Season 2 finale, which is to track down everybody who has become inhuman after the contamination of the fish oil pellets, as well as various other sources from which that chemical can come from. Track them down before Hydra does, and basically just have them be on S.H.I.E.L.D's side so that basically Hydra doesn't win. And before I get into the new characters and the new things that we're dealing with, one thing that I have to commend the season premiere for is the fact that there are some characters we didn't see. And I always disliked it when certain TV shows, Gotham, has to cram almost every single character in their season premieres or in their finales to say, look, we're wrapping every single thing up in a nice little bow, and sometimes it just doesn't work out that way with TV shows. Maybe in movies, because there are movies and sometimes you only get about 2-3 years in between movies, so you kind of need to include some stuff, and it's very tough to get that within 2 hours, the average 2-hour movie. But with a TV show, you don't have to have everybody show up in the episode, which is why I like the fact that we didn't catch up with Ward and what he was up to, or what May was doing on her vacation, or even with Simmons until the very end with that little stinger there, which was a nice little Easter egg of what's to come in the next preceding episodes. But I do like that the writers know when to hold back and just focus on just what they're introducing and what they're going to kick things off with in the Season 3 premiere. One of the biggest highlights was actually what the episode decided to open up with, which is the introduction of a new character named Joey, who ends up becoming human. But what I loved about his character is not only in the matter of just a few minutes of screen time, we already get what he's all about, a little bit of his backstory, but also it gives the episode a sense of pathos in which you feel bad for this guy, because he is that case that I was hoping this season would tackle, which is to have Daisy, or Sky as she was previously known, and the team actually coming face to face with an inhuman who was like Sky, Daisy, and trying to console him and trying to convince him to join their side. And I liked how the whole subject was treated, of how scared he was, how Daisy tried her best to kind of use her experience of what she has gone through to relate with him, and that made Daisy a much more likable character because she had that mentor mentality. And this character was someone that I can get on, because not only was the actor was pretty good with his performance, but also because he was written well. He was written in a way where he felt human being an inhuman, which is kind of funny, but it couldn't ring any more true. The fact that he took the situation in a way that was believable and was understandable, in which he was starting to get a little hostile, but he wasn't like an outright dick. He was scared. You can tell in his eyes that he was scared being in the situation that he was in. This led to the introduction of a Black Ops team who's trying to take down the Inhumans and presumably hand them over to Hydra. And this Black Ops team is being headed by this woman named Rosalind, who Coulson figures out and tracks her down, and they have this scene that's full of banter, and I get the feeling I'm gonna like this character as a villain. She seems like the type of character that I would like to hate. Sure, along with her came some generic side villains like that guy who's so good. He looks like a discount Michael Rooker, and he just spoke with that gravelly voice that those sidekick villains always tend to have. And he just felt a little bit generic, but fortunately he is the side villain for a reason. And fortunately I feel like the main villain is a tad bit more charismatic. I felt how her dialogue just bounced off with Coulson, and even Coulson has that smirk on his face when they were talking in the subway, like, I get the feeling I'm gonna like talking to you. Even though you're the villain, I'm gonna enjoy having, one-on-one conversations with her. However, when he was doing that, along with Hunter, we get Daisy and Mac tracking down a returning character from last season that we do catch up with, which is Lincoln, who decided to do the opposite of what Daisy and the rest of the team did, and actually leave it all behind and try to live a normal life. However, it just comes to show you that you just cannot escape your past, and you just cannot escape who you are. And so Daisy and Mac tracking Lincoln down comes to sort of a confrontation between Mac and Lincoln, because he just desperately wants to be a normal person and pursue this desire to help other people. And you almost feel bad for Lincoln, because at the end of this whole sequence, I was thinking to myself, man, maybe if Daisy and Mac, chances are things would have ended up the same way, but I just can't help but feel like if Daisy and Mac wouldn't have intervened with his life, Lincoln would still be living a normal life, and I can genuinely feel bad for the guy. It is in this sequence, however, where I felt like Mac was somewhat of a bully in this episode. I mean, there were so many instances where, whether it be with his interaction with Joey or Lincoln in the hospital, that I just felt like Mac was just there just to look into him and be like, hey, shut up. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. There was just something about Mac that felt like he was being a bit of a bully in this episode, and I'm hoping they kind of fix that a little bit in the preceding episodes for season 3, because I'm not liking this too tough for any kind of bullshit Mac, because he was a bit more charismatic in season 2, and so far I know that this is just one episode, so I'm gonna hold judgment, but man, he was coming across as a little bit dickish. But I know one guy Mac won't be dickish to, because he'll kick his ass. This guy, who came out of nowhere, I'm assuming he is a Kree, that just legitimately came out of nowhere and demanded to figure out where the human was within the vicinity of the hospital. And the characters are left just as dumbfounded as I was, and that's good, because I don't want to be spoon-fed every single thing within and have it all be crammed up within one episode. Similar to how I was talking about them not including Ward and May in this episode. That was good. I like that. That'll make their returns later on in the season all that much more meaningful. So I like the fact that out of nowhere, we don't know where this guy comes from, and he just starts fighting both Quake, Daisy, and Lincoln without any kind of context whatsoever, and Sky and Lincoln figure this out quickly, and they're like, you know what, let's just take care of this first, and we'll try to figure it out later. And so I'm hoping that the preceding episodes will answer as to who is this guy and where he came from, but the fact that he specifically mentioned Inhuman makes me feel like he was somewhere around the events, the ending events of season 2. He was roaming around somewhere. Maybe he has some kind of knowledge as to who Lincoln is, who Daisy is, and what S.H.I.E.L.D. wants with them. And that's my speculation, but I'm definitely interested to see what this guy was all about. Plus, I will say that the shadow effects that they were going on with down that hallway really played to the effects. Seeing this hulking figure come down the hallway with practical effects and without that much CGI was genuinely intimidating. If I was seeing that coming down the hallway towards me, I would shit my pants. And then we got Fitz. Oh my god. First of all, about 10-15 minutes into the episode, I started to wonder, as we saw Bobby and Coulson navigating through the labs, talking amongst themselves about who these Black Ops people are, who's leading them, what kind of technology they're using, their guns, trying to recreate their prototypes. I was wondering, have any of them touched upon the subject that Simmons just like disappeared into that obelisk, and nobody has seen her since, and has anybody considered her MIA? And slowly they started to gradually acknowledge that these characters do know that, yeah, Simmons is gone, Fitz is taking it pretty badly, and I was just bracing for some more petty Fitz, like, oh my god, Simmons is gone, I have to cope with it all. What would I... Cut to Fitz in the Middle East, one of the most volatile places in the world, and he's doing things that take balls to try to track down where Simmons is at, trying to figure out what certain artifacts mean, and maybe that could find a way to decipher how to get into that monolith, or try to open it up, or try to make it do something that will lead Fitz to Simmons, or at least to some kind of answer as to where Simmons went. Maybe an alternate dimension, some other planet, who knows. So the fact that Fitz was out there, you know, going through the streets of Morocco with his suit and his glasses, I'm like, dude, way to go. Alright, this takes guts, and this made Fitz an even more likable character. And then leading up to his breakdown there at the end, where he's just yelling at the monolith, was just very, left a lasting impression on me, not only from the character, but also from the actor, Ian, I'm just going to butcher his last name, but the actor who plays Fitz, he did a really good job there with that ending scene, and really made me feel for him. So it made all the more sense to have the ending stinger scene at the very end to be Simmons running across this desert-like landscape, and of course, and then once she turns around, you'll realize that she's more than likely not only just on another dimension, but on a different planet entirely that happens to have oxygen, and she is hiding from someone or something. Chances are it's something, considering she's covering up the trail of blood that she has on her forehead so that she doesn't be detected. Hopefully, answers will come. All in all, I recognize that the episode wasn't perfect. Like I said, Mac could have been a little nicer. And once again, we get some more of that Bobby Hunter back and forth that is getting just a little bit repetitive at this point. It was nice in Season 2, but seeing it bleed over to Season 3 once again, even when it's something tiny like him saying, oh, you're not supposed to talk or see the bride before the wedding, and they're trying to rekindle their whole thing. I mean, it's not dislikable because I like the two characters. I just feel like we're going through the motions with that relationship there. Please, just make them get married again and just push it to the side and do something meaningful with it. And I'm a little, just slightly disappointed that we're seeing it again here in the Season 3 premiere. And I will acknowledge the fact that this premiere did not necessarily blow me away. But it was still a very good episode, and one that is a very strong opener for things to come in Season 3. So for that, I give the Season 3 premiere, which I can't remember the title for, but I'll just call it the Season 3 premiere of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a solid 8 out of 10. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys thought of the Season 3 premiere of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and what do you look forward to in this third season, and what do you have any kind of hope that maybe some of the main Avengers, somebody from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, will make some kind of cameo in Season 3? Because the fact that Simmons is in some other planet could lead to, you know, the people's favorite raccoon, or just this some kind of character, something from Guardians of the Galaxy. Because I feel because of the fact that they mentioned Kree in that movie, can hopefully have its first connection with anything else that has to do with the MCU. Because Guardians of the Galaxy sure has references to other things, just like the Season 3 premiere had a reference to Ant-Man. But I feel like maybe this will be the first big connection from one part of the MCU to another. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.